What is neurodivergent brilliance? I'm sure you've all heard about dyslexia and ADHD. What do you think dyslexia is? A reading problem? A learning disability? Do you feel sorry about dyslexics because they struggle in school? Is this the image you have in mind? If it is, you're not alone. Take a look at an experiment conducted by Kate Griggs, founder of Made by Dyslexia.
I'd like to have a chat to you about dyslexia. Anyone be interested in having a dyslexic baby?
What the hell kind of a question is that?
World's first dyslexic sperm bank. Open today.
Hello, good morning. What's brought you in today?
Just a bit intrigued, actually.
Tell me, what do you know about dyslexia?
I don't know, does that get jumbled up with writing?
In that disability?
Dyslexia are stupid, I've heard that word used a lot.
Given the choice, would you like your child to have dyslexia?
No. I wouldn't kill it.
Only 3% of people see dyslexia as anything other than a disadvantage. But look at the people around this room. Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, inventor of the iPhone. Who's more of an icon for genius than Albert Einstein? We've got a whole catalogue here full of people who are or were dyslexic, like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone. Dyslexics have a difference in their brains that makes them literally see the world a bit differently. Did you know that 40% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic?
Say that again.
What? That's amazing.
If you were thinking about how most people see dyslexia, what words do you think people would use to describe them?
At a disadvantage. But by the sounds of it, they're not.
Are you shocked? Only 3% of people see dyslexia as anything else other than a disadvantage. But it isn't. Dyslexia is a different way of thinking, not a disability, not a disadvantage. Dyslexia is caused by a different wiring in the brain, and that wiring allows people with dyslexia to think creatively, laterally, and differently. In the real world, that's a huge advantage, but in the education system, it is a disadvantage. An estimated 20% of people are dyslexic. That's 1 in 5 students, mostly undiagnosed. Some misdiagnosed as slow, unattentive, undedicated, disturbing, lonely, or simply not smart enough. We have the duty to find these kids and let them shine. Once there was a boy who struggled terribly in school. Words danced on the page, and reading felt like a battle he could never win. His teachers called him mentally slow, and he said he would never succeed. But he saw the world differently, not in words, but in pictures, ideas, and possibilities. While others memorized facts, he imagined entire theories that could later reshape how we understand the universe. That boy was Albert Einstein, the mind behind the theory of relativity, one of the greatest scientific breakthroughs in history. Most of you have probably heard and love Sir Ken Robinson's legendary TED Talk, "Do Schools Kill Creativity?" Well, get this. When kids start primary school, 97% of them are classified as genius-level lateral thinkers. By the time they leave primary school, that number drops to just 43%. That means a massive chunk of their creativity has been squeezed out. But then here's the thing. People with dyslexia are hardwired for that kind of thinking. That lateral brilliance stays with them through school and into the real world. And now, let's hear it straight from Sir Ken himself. A powerful clip about Gillian Lean.
I'm doing a new book at the moment called Epiphany, which is based on a series of interviews with people about how they discovered their talent. I'm fascinated by how people got to be there. It's really prompted by a conversation I had with a wonderful woman who most people have never heard of. She's called Gillian Lynn. Have you heard of her? I said, how'd you get to be a dancer? And she said it was interesting. When she was at school, she was really hopeless. And the school in the 30s wrote to her parents and said, "We think Gillian has a learning disorder." She couldn't concentrate, she was fidgeting. I think now they'd say she had ADHD. Wouldn't you? But this was the 1930s, and ADHD hadn't been invented, at this point, so it wasn't an available condition. People weren't aware they could have that. Anyway, she went to see this specialist. So this oak-panelled room, and she was there with her mother, and she was led and sat on this chair at the end, and she sat on her hands for 20 minutes while this man talked to her mother about all the problems Gillian was having at school. And at the end of it, because she was disturbing people, their homework was always late and so on, little kid of 8, in the end, the doctor went and sat next to Gillian and said, "Gillian, I've listened to all these things that your mother's told me. I need to speak to her privately." So he said, "Wait here, we'll be back. We won't be very long." And they went and left her. But as they went out the room, he turned on the radio that was sitting on his desk. And when they got out the room, he said to her mother, "Just stand and watch her." And the minute they left the room, she said she was on her feet, moving to the music. And they watched for a few minutes, and he turned to her mother, and he said, "Mrs. Lynn, Gillian isn't sick. She's a dancer. Take her to a dance school." I said, "What happened?" He said, "She did. I can't tell you how wonderful it was. We walked in this room, and it was full of people like me. People who couldn't sit still. People who had to move to think. They did ballet, they did tap, they did jazz, they did modern, they did contemporary. She was eventually auditioned for the Royal Ballet School. She became a soloist. She had a wonderful career at the Royal Ballet. She eventually graduated from the Royal Ballet School, found her own company, the Gillian Dance Company, met Andrew Lloyd Webber. She's been responsible for some of the most successful musical theatre productions in history. She's given pleasure to millions, and she's a multi-millionaire. Somebody else might have put her on medication and told her to calm down. Now, I think...
This was the beautiful story of Gillian Lean, made by dyslexia. How many Gillian Leans are sitting in our classrooms right now? Misdiagnosed, misunderstood, mislabeled, simply because they don't fit the mold we've insisted every child must conform to. How many dancers, dreamers, designers, leaders have we overlooked? How long can we keep doing this? Deutsche Schule Barcelona has always prided itself on academic excellence. But today, we're at crossroads. The world has changed, and with it, so must education. AI can already outperform students on every test we currently teach to. But what it can't do is connect the dots like a dyslexic brain. It can't imagine something no one's thought of yet. It can't inspire, it can't empathize, it can't lead. But our children can, especially the 1 in 5 who are wired to think brilliantly differently. Dyslexia is not a disability, it's a superpower, a different wiring, a better way to solve problems, to think creatively, to innovate. 40% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic. Branson, Spielberg, Campred, Disney. UK's top intelligence agency, JCQ, hires dyslexics on purpose, because they see what others can't. Da Vinci, Edison, Ford, Einstein, Picasso, history's changemakers were dyslexic. But not only that, many companies realize the unique abilities of dyslexics and actively recruit them. BBC, Universal Music, Ernst & Young, IBM, and many more. So what's the problem at DSB? We have 125 students per grade. Statistically, this means 25 neurodivergent students in every class year. Gifted, creative minds sitting through a system that is yet to recognize their brilliance. They come home with 4s and 5s. They think they're not smart. They start to believe they're less than. Parents are frustrated, teachers are overwhelmed, and the kids are giving up. So, what if we do something bold? What if we lead? We propose a new class, a pioneering pilot, a space where neurodiversity is celebrated, not corrected. So here's the plan. We screen the students for neurodiversity. We hire a specialized teacher. We unleash their strengths: visual thinking, storytelling, reasoning, inventing. This isn't a special ed. This is a brilliance incubator. Why does it matter to everyone? Because when we do this, we set our school apart from the rest by going one step further. We attract more kids, we secure funding, and we get global attention. We prepare students for the future of learning. This is feasible. We can learn from free resources such as Made by Dyslexia, which offers free trainings. Our community has the skills and the heart to build this. All we need is the will. We can't keep asking the fish to climb the tree, because when we do, we lose our Einsteins, our Bransons, our Spielbergs, our jobs. We lose the kids who might one day heal, lead, protect, or reimagine the world. So let's stop trying to fix what isn't broken. Let's build the future with them. Let's become the first school in Europe with an entire class designed for brilliantly different moving minds. Let's lead. Let's imagine. Let's dare.